Hold on. I'm trying to hopefully this is working. Testing 1, 2, 3. My camera, for some reason, is really being actually funny today. Hold on. People are like, what the hell? Is this really a live show? Welcome. TPIM SR Live. I'm your host, True Powers Mind. Wow, what a day. Just want to say thank you, Most High, for allowing me yet another opportunity to get on this mic and do something right. Share some information, awaken some people, whatever. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the last video that I released on this channel. Patreon's had it first. I had it over there. And then the second one, I'm going to do the same thing. Put it on Patreon. They get first crack and then release it to the people if they want me to or not. All right. So let's get into it. Right now, my state is reopening. St. Louis City, St. Louis County will be totally reopened tomorrow. Corona is ravishing through the nursing homes in the area. Doesn't matter. I only say this to get you all to understand that the powers that be, the economic situation, the government, whatever you want to call them, truly cares not for us at all. New Jersey, not bro. Perry, welcome to the show. Hold up. Don't forget, Notre Dame did burn down. Second, more deadly wave of corona to hit Europe this winter. There might have died in New Jersey. It's not. Here they go with my internet connection. It's saying that they're trying to reconnect, and oh my gosh, this is just too much. It's crazy every day on Facebook. You know, Perry, it's going to even get worse. See, one of the reasons why I released that one show the other day is so that there's a part in there where he was talking, Mark was talking about all Trump needs is an explosion at the border, anything to really solidify his grasp on power. Well, a bunch of people puking out their heads and dying would work just fine. Tensions rise between White House and CDC. Presidential emergency power sparks worry. Why worry? I've been telling you this for past 3 years, hardcore. Everyone's running around here all scared. Oh my God. Oh, the sky's falling. The sky's already fallen, my friend. It's falling right on top of you and me and everyone else you know and see around you right now. Humanity is heading for a major culling. Culling is the shedding of the weak, infirmed, and sickly. Now, some people are like, yay, we don't want those sick bastards. Other people are going to be mournful because that's their lover, that's their mother, that's their father, that's their brother, that's their sister, that's their cousin, that's their friend. Do you have Mark's new interview on Carl Nelson by any chance? Yeah, it's on the channel there, Perry. The latest channel. I mean, the latest one. So yeah, I assume so. I've been out the loop a little bit. I basically ripped out a wall the other day, and I'm opening up my house. So yeah, I've been really busy. But anyhow, enough of that. Totally got off subject. I'm going to nail this nail until it strikes true. Those who were economically non-viable before the quarantine are economically dying now. You have to understand your lot in life was tied to your mother and father and their mother and father and so on and so on and so forth. Show the truth. Welcome to the show. Peace and power. As Congress weighs liability protection, states shield health providers. I'm gonna show you guys this little sick map. And LAPD wants to give rapid result virus tests to anyone it arrests. You gotta understand, the cops still need to make those arrests because it's not about public safety. It's about public revenue. Virtual Obama. He needs to go somewhere and sit down, Yao. His work is done. Man and man love is now a real thing. So his work is done. And here's probably the next one to meet the chopping block, Mr. Warren Buffett. I don't really foresee him going past it probably the end of this month. Coronavirus savage, blah, blah, blah. Nikki Haley, blah. Wall Street over lockdown. People will die. People do die. We'll check that one out too. But I'm going to show you the map. And don't forget, if you notice, I've noticed they've kind of toned down on the whole giving us the numbers like they should be. And this is they all come to. It's the Johns Hopkins University bullshit with the Peterson projection map making Greenland immensely bigger and making Africa extremely small. And I want you to see the red dots. And I might even pull up a screenshot I've had of this from past. So you can see like the red dots in Africa hasn't changed. Now people can be like, well, that's because they don't report true. Please. They got their UN battle stations in there. It's truepowerismine at gmail.com. It's always linked to it in the description. My email contact. The call-in number, 636-209-5044. That's the call-in number. Typically always have that going during the show so you can call in. Look how slow this internet is, y'all. You guys are seeing this real time. So you know I'm not lying about it. You see, there's Africa. I can tell that's Africa. There's Asia. There's Europe. That's North America. This is South America over here. And Mexico's back up in here. This is what Africa's look like at the very beginning. It's like the screenshot of Africa, boom. But yet it's the black man's disease. I overheard a couple of knuckleheads at my local Walmart. There was a brother that walked by them, and I was all in my hoodie and gloves and shit, so they can't even tell what the fuck I was. And they're like, oh my God, that dude probably has corona. This, brother just minding his own business. And I'm like, wow, these little morons already are internalizing that as an attack point. And it's going to get even worse. See, whenever people are scared and you pose a real, genuine threat, whether it's mental threat or a physical threat, whatever, they're going to try to neutralize you. You have to character assassinate people before you do the deed. Friends, how much more character assassin does it take for us to see that we are quite literally in the bullseye? The target is on us. And it's sad. Here we go. Let's read this headline. People will die. People do die. Wall Street has enough of the lockdown. It's time to start churning money for the wealthy. That's all Wall Street does is churn money for those who already have it. Every once in a while, a couple of peons get in there. But people who've already had money, they just churn the money over and over in different ideals, different investment, different options. And then when they make too much money, they start putting that in the offshore accounts. Call it tax shelters and havens. Friends, what good is money? And the answer is as good as what you can make it. If you're good, I guess your money's going to be good. If you're bad, I guess your money's going to be bad. But money itself is neither good nor evil. It's just a system of control. That's all it is. It's a system of control. Except for in the Western world, we've perverted it. Those who obtain the money, it now becomes a tool for behavior. In other words, if you're wealthy, you can do certain things in public, behind closed doors, whatever, and you're getting a slap on the wrist. You're economically non-viable. You do the same type of shit. Your ass is going to jail for a very long time. You know, if you guys wanted, who is that out there now? They Tiger Man, whatever. That Carol Baskin chick. If she would have been a sister, her ass would have. They would have stripped her of that land. They would have took her little monkey ass to jail and slammed. And you would never probably heard of her. This is the reality. I remember a long time ago, I had a conversation with a brother, and he said something. I believe it was CI actually. Oh yeah, I think it was CI, Cobra Immortal. And we were talking, and he was like, brother, it seems like anything a black man does that's criminal, a white man can do it and get paid. And when we first said it, I thought about it a little bit, but then I started thinking about it. I was like, you know what? You're kind of right. You steal a whole continent and you trump up some laws and you live high on the hog. Now, anyone in that system trying to do what you did, like steal or kill or pillage or any of that, they get dealt with firmly and quickly, which rightfully so, civilization, duh. But we see this pattern played out all over the world and still being played out in certain places today, but not so much in your face now, but it's still the corporation pays the chiefs or the tribal elders. And all suddenly they get to pull resources off the tribal land and the people don't get nothing. But of course, you get that new iPhone with a discount. These are the plays that are being played on us continually, relentlessly. Now, I don't know if people are still pushing the narrative because I haven't seen the big media shows lately pushing the narrative. Corona, disproportionately affects minority people. Duh. It's not like Corona. Oh my God, there's a black guy. It's because when you're living once again in an urban environment and you're quite literally stacked on top of each other, you walk down the hallway, someone coughs in the fucking hallway, someone pisses in the fucking corner of the steps, someone wiped their nose and touched the handrail. That's why you see such a so-called disproportionate amount of infection, because people are fucking stacked on top of each other like fucking lumber, cordwood. Now that that's out of the way, let's talk about what's really going on in Africa or Kemet. How come? Let's zoom in. Zoom in one more time, I guess. How come this area, the infection has remained basically like I said it would have been along the coastlines? You know what? I won't say it. I'm going to let the man say it for himself. Y'all going to get some real information tonight. Something that's going to save your life if you heed it. If you don't, hopefully you find this entertaining. Because I know my man here is going to break it down when my internet finally kicks on. My God, dial-up was faster than this at times. Hold on. I might have to
leaders of America, and I would like to hear the excuse that they're going to give us for not supporting it. Cure, and you are curing the diseases that others are not curing, so that is the barometer.
Story, Michael. Well, that's right, Harold. He's an immigrant from Honduras who never went to school, college, or medical school. Yet the man known as Dr. Sebi claims to have found a cure for several life-threatening diseases, including AIDS. Too good to be true? Well, you be the judge. The lump in Myrtle Brick's left breast is gone.
I haven't had any symptoms or problems or anything.
Sabrina Peterson's son no longer disabled by sickle cell anemia.
He has a lot of energy. I have to make him rest.
Disease is cured by this man. His name is Dr. Sebi, but you won't find a medical degree hanging from his wall. Instead, a certificate of healing.
We have complex things with science, but if we go back to God and use the herbs as God said, then you can see how simple it is.
Dr. Sebi believes what ails you can be cured with natural alkaline herbs and a vegetarian diet solely made up of what he calls electric foods, mushrooms, greens, and rye breads without starch.
Hippocrates established the principle of medical science by using herbs to cure diseases, then why the physician using the chemicals?
40 years ago, a doctor in Mexico cured Sebi of diabetes, asthma, and obesity with the very same herbs and diet he dispenses to all of his patients, whether they're suffering from lack of energy or full-blown AIDS.
That package is an intracellular chelation. I'm removing plaque from the system. I'm removing inflammation. That is the base for all disease.
And according to a medical affidavit provided by Dr. Sebi, it's working. It shows a patient diagnosed with HIV in November of 1993 was cured 2 months later. Thousands of patients worldwide swear by his methods and natural herbal medicines.
In the tiny village, Lisa sought guidance for body and soul from an herbal guru named Dr. Sebi.
Dr. Sebi, according to him, can cure anything. Everything from trying to lose weight to, looking for a cure for AIDS. People go there with hopes and dreams that Dr. Sebi can somehow save them.
She had been through so many intense problems in her career and in her life and in her personal life that she didn't know where to turn. And this doctor, she said, had shown her how to really open up and cleanse all of the negativity out of her.
She told me she was suffering with alcoholism and that she was smoking excessively, cigarettes, drinking and smoking. She asked me, what do I need to do to stay on the side of peace? I said, fast, do what Jesus did. She said, what did Jesus do? He fasted for 40 days and 40 nights.
Midway through her 40-day ordeal, an obviously gaunt Lisa spoke with MTV News.
I've been polluting my body for 30 years. 40 days is not a long time to me to fast. 40 days represents overcoming death. It's the number of days that Jesus fasted for. And I kind of feel like I'm on a journey sometimes. Don't really know quite where I'm headed.
At the ending of the fasting, she came to me. I heard the door opening at 2 o'clock in the morning. She said, I completed my fast this morning. I said, what did you see? I saw God. She said, I'm going to make you famous. I said, how? Because I'm going to talk about you. Does everyone know you cure AIDS and cancer?
There's just a lot of people in the world who are suffering. They're sick. They're not happy. They're looking for answers. They don't know where to turn. Well, I know a man who's been curing AIDS since 1987. This guy has taught me a lot, and I need to share my knowledge, with the world.
Personal experiences with Dr. Sebi and the herbs that I have taken, and also the village in Honduras that I have personally been to several times on several occasions. So the video that you guys just saw, yeah, I've been there. So you have to go there to get the real, idea of what this place is like. Because words cannot describe it. I met Dr. Sadie about 4 years ago. And before I got a chance to actually
The healer. I didn't know that. But even before I became the healer, I didn't have a girlfriend until I was 21 because I disagreed with what I saw. And even now, my interrelationship with women, I don't believe that there is a woman that could rightfully say that they love me because of the way that I live and the way that I see things. And I'm not really upset or bothered by that. But I live different. I see different. I feel different. And I don't like to share that with most people because it is so far away. You don't want to disturb anyone. But even the healing that I bring to the world, look at that. My first patient, my very first patient, I was a steam engineer working for the county of Los Angeles. And this blind man had heard that I was experimenting with these plants. And his neighbor said, well, why don't you take it? And he took the plants, and in 2 days he was seeing. And he was blind for 11 years. That shook me because I couldn't explain to the world the mechanics behind this blind man seeing.
What were your thoughts when you formulated the
compound?
Right.
The way that the compounds came into existence, being a steam engineer, I knew that the pH value, the pH factor, had a lot to do with healing. And the herbalists then, like the herbalists today, are unaware that the pH factor has a lot to do with it. Meaning this, I said that if God tell us that the herbs are for the healing of the nations, in the book of Genesis, in the book of Ezekiel, in the book of Exodus, and the book of Revelation, it says that the herbs are for the healing of the nation. Then as I go further into the history of medicine, this is what I found, that the great Hippocrates used herbs to cure disease, and that he cured every disease known to man. This man was curing every disease in Greece 365 years before Christ was even born. So when people tell us that only Jesus heals, you remind them that Hippocrates was here long before he was born, 300 years. So I said, if Jesus cured with herbs, Hippocrates cured with herbs, and God said the herbs, then what's up? Why aren't we curing with herbs today? So I said, one day when I went to work, my wife and I was talking all night. We were engaged in this conversation about these herbs. So Maha said to me that there could be something locked someplace that prevent us from accomplishing the goals that Jesus Christ and Hippocrates accomplished. When I went to work that night, I found it. I laughed. Oh, I was so happy. I was extremely happy because I said, it is required of us to maintain the pH at 6.9. At 7, which is the neutral zone, pH of 7 is neutral. And if it is slightly on the acid side, it's 6.9. And the reason why we maintain the pH at 6.9 is to keep the tubes of the boiler clean, that there will be no life form in there. But if the pH is 7.1, oh, now you're going to experience life. Life form will begin to accumulate in the tubes of the boiler, preventing the radiant heat or the convection heat from reaching the tubes. I said that if life was so powerful that it could exist in a temperature of 450 degrees, then the herbs that heal would have to be alkali on 7+, instead of acid, 6.9. Then I begin to check the pH of all the herbs. I begin to test it. I test comfrey, acid. I test garlic, acid. I also tested aloe vera, St. John wort, rose hips, comfrey. All of these things are very acid. Carrot juice is extremely acid, yet the healers in New York then and now are still recommending these acid foods. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, let me investigate further to see which are the alkali herbs. Mm-hmm. And I begin to see that burdock, yellow dock, also the elderberry, mm-hmm. These are alkali plants. Also the Virginia snake root, that's alkali. One has to know the herbs that are alkali opposed to the herbs that are acid. This today is not really considered, nor do they follow that particular, road or understanding, because the herbalists of today are recommending peppermint. Peppermint is very acid. Mm-hmm. Peppermint freezes the brain. Some even recommend peppermint oil. Peppermint oil is extremely caustic. Mm-hmm. So now we have this kind of information in front of us being disseminated and carried out. Mm-hmm. So there's confusion in the population. But the one thing that my supporters or the people that helped me, that counseled me, they said to me, Sebi, the one thing that you have in your favor is that you have cure and you are curing the diseases that others are not curing. So that is the barometer that tells us that the acid herb that they're using prevent them from reaching the goal that they're pursuing. Mm-hmm. It was my steam engineering experience that helped me in herbology to understand the herb that God made. Yes, it has to be made by God. If we eat something that God didn't make, we are running the risk of disease. Then we're going to be angry. Like I were at only 30 years of age, I was extremely angry. So I didn't know that my mother wanted me to be a preacher. And I didn't want to go into the church. I said, who, me be a preacher? No, I'm not going to be a preacher. Mm. And look what I'm doing now. Mm. Look what I'm doing. My mother, I called her on my birthday 2 days ago, and she was laughing. She was laughing. She said, you see, what I wanted you to do, what I see you doing, you're doing it. Only because people are being healed. Mm. That is the work of a shepherd.
So if we were to go back and trace everything, as a young man, you had a sense that you would heal people. You didn't know quite how you would do it. You went through to become a young man in your early 20s, and you were still unhealthy yourself, but you started to look into herbs.
No, I didn't look into herbs in my 20s. I didn't know anything about herbs in my 20s.
No.
I made a statement at 14 that I was going to do something to help humanity, but I didn't know it was going to turn out to be these herbs. Mm-hmm. So when I was sick, I was 30, and I got the help from the Mexican that helped me, and then I proceed to pursue it, and I was working as a steam engineer at the time that every day I would go to work, and God would talk to me and said, how could you be healed of all those dreadful diseases, and you're going to hold that from humanity? And I would go to work and I would see these turbines and these condensers and these boilers, and I would get so angry. And that was when I stepped up my research.
You would see these boilers, and what would make you angry about them?
Because I want to get away from them, because I want to go into the herbs.
Okay.
But I was then 47 years of age. Mm-hmm. I was 47. Mm-hmm. And I was 10 years on the job, seniority. Mm-hmm. And I was making a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And I had a wife and 2 babies and 1 on the way, and I quit my job. God said, you're going to quit. If you're going to starve, or you're going to die starving, but you're going to quit this job. Mm-hmm. And I left, and I was put in jail, and, all the whole bit that happened to me in New York. I was arrested in St. Martin one night. I was taken to jail in Curacao. Oh, it's been a journey, but it's been nice. because it was like a test. I remember being down to only $400. When I started this business, I only had $400. I started this healing journey with $400. And here I am today. A little girl in New York named Haja that was brought to us with a hole in her heart. She's now 16. A little girl was brought to me in Atlanta that was blind from age 8 to age 11 with a tumor on her frontal lobe. She no longer has the tumor on her frontal lobe. Her name is Mecca. And there's a little girl in Minnesota. Her name is Akila Stroud. She no longer has sickle cell anemia. And a month ago, I gave a lecture in New York, and a young lady came forth and said, well, I don't have lupus anymore. So these kinds of things tells us that we, the Black race, has the answer to the world's health. We have the answer to their disease state. But we are afraid to take that responsibility because we live in fear. We fear. We're scared of white man. We're scared of God. We say that we fear God. I don't know why people fear God.
Now, is it possible for one group to have the cures for the world? Because your part of your philosophy is, or I don't want to say philosophy, part of your outlook or your beliefs is that people are at their healthiest when they're eating foods that come from the region of their ethnic origin.
That's not happening.
Right, but that's what you believe.
No, I don't believe that either. What I believe is to eat food that came out of the product of life itself. I don't care whether you're Chinese, Eskimo, Arab, or what. If you eat something natural, you're gonna be healed.
But do you believe that people,
natural,
that the Black people should not eat foods that are
Oh no, that's a horse of a different color. Black people should not eat Chinese food because Chinese food or even Caucasian food. There is a book out by a man known as Pablo Arriola, and he is known to be one of the most distinguished nutritionists in the world. And he said that if your ancestors are from Africa, your body is not programmed to digest milk. But if you are European, yes. So right there, they're telling us that there's a difference in the genetical makeup of these two individuals.
So if people have a different genetic makeup that makes them react differently to different herbs, products, foods, would it be possible for one group to have sort of a cure for the entire world, or would they be moving towards a cure for people within the same ethnic group?
Well, it should be like that, I suppose. But our experience shows us
that it crosses all lines.
That it crosses all boundaries. Because people come to us. There was once upon a time when there were more white people coming to us. Chinese come to us. Japanese. I just said that Matun just killed a woman in Japan of lung cancer, and she never seen the woman. They called from Japan and told Matun, like Annette, have cured many. Matun have cured many, so it's Tatanisha. And they have never seen these people. She sent them the compound to Japan, and she was cured. We sent compound to Europe, and they were cured. I have a letter from a psychiatric group in France who want me to go and lecture to them. Why? Because someone with schizophrenia was cured that they know about. So these compounds cured everyone, whether you're Black, white, Chinese, or Eskimo, providing they're natural. But the substance that you're going to eat as a staple, yes, I agree with you. You are 100% right. It has to be something that is genetically consistent with you.
Okay. No, I wasn't saying that. And I'm not saying that either because I don't know it. It's something I'm asking you about.
But you did. It was good.
I've heard that you've said that.
Yes, but it was correct.
Okay.
It's apropos.
Okay. And I'd like to hear a little bit about that in terms of people and the relationship between the staple diet and where your ancestors are from.
We're going to give you an example, a good example. From the day that God created this universe and made Black people, how many years it has been since God placed Black people in Africa? Do you have any idea? The anthropologist has no idea, but they would
spout out these numbers for you.
Mhm.
That God made the universe 9.5 billion years ago.
Mhm.
So the other is, when did he put black people in Africa? They say 1.5 million years ago.
Mhm.
But what was the food that God placed in Africa for these people? Certainly, it could not have been potatoes. It could have been rice or beans or yams or chicken or hogs or cows. It could not be a goat or a lamb, because all these things are hybrid.
Mhm.
God did not make these things. These things came just recently, only 4,000 years ago. So what were we eating in Africa before we were taken away? What were we eating in Africa before there was an invasion by the man from Europe? We simply do not know.
Mhm.
And it is because we are unaware of this diet that God made specifically for us. This is why we're angry today and we're so divided. Everybody's laughing at us. They're laughing more at me. On the airplane, the pilots came to see me a few weeks ago when I was in a plane before 911, and they were looking at the brochure I had that says that AIDS has been cured and herbalists cure AIDS, and the Supreme Court of New York cannot deny, can't disagree. They were laughing at me. Why? Because you are not supporting me. So they think that I'm a fake. Because if it was a white man curing AIDS, the captain said, the whole white race would be supporting them, but my race is not going to support me. The leaders of America can't do it. Farrakhan can't do it. Jesse Jackson can't do it, because they were not designed to do this kind of work. They were designed to lobby and to talk and to, like Mr. Al Sharpton, he likes to make people march. That's cool. But we got a job to do in healing the black race now. That comes in a different category. Those leaders cannot help me. And that's why I'm vulnerable.
In what ways is the black race in need of healing?
In what ways
Totally.
does the black race need healing?
Mhm.
One of the areas that the black race need healing most is in the central nerve system.
Mhm.
Because we have been eating acid food for 400 years.
And how does that manifest itself in terms of
Socially?
socially, physically, and
Physically,
what's the damage that?
okay, socially, we see that very seldom our leaders agree with their own selves. The leaders are at war.
Mhm.
They're all in disagreement, because among the leaders, you find Muslim, you find Christian, you find Buddhist, you find all of that. And they all seem to disagree with each other's position.
Mhm.
The politician, well, I don't know what role politics play in our progression health state.
Mhm.
How we see it, again, is that we are not together on any issue that is pragmatic, that's going to elevate us in producing something for our own existence. Self-preservation is the first law of nature, and we are the only people on the planet that denies that.
Okay, so I guess there are a few things I want to pull out of what you just said. The first one is a relationship between diet and behavior.
Diet and behavior has a direct their relationship.
Okay, and then that this is affecting Black Americans in a particular way, so that it's something you can see throughout our community. And would the difference be that Black Americans are not in their sort of original like homeland, and so that would be why there'd be a greater problem for Black Americans?
Temperature and food,
Temperature.
but not so much as the African. Do you know that Black America, on the scale from 1 to 10, if we are to be perfect at 10, Black America is about 5, Africa is about 2. Black America is closer to the goal than Africa.
You're talking about food or diet? I mean, diet or behavior?
Diet and behavior.
Okay.
Because if a young man in California is in love with you, that you met, he's not going to ask you what tribe are you a member of, right? No, you're not.
Right.
But in Africa, if you are Susu and I'm a Malenke, I'm not going to marry you, because I'm supposed to be your enemy. But they're both Black. You see? In America, the brother not going to ask you what tribe you're a member of. He's going to marry you because he like you, right? And you with him. That's only one.
But do you think that being concerned about the tribe a person is from means that you, them, and any of your offspring will always be linked, at least in traditional society, will be linked to a certain geographic region, and you won't have the problem that you described of being sort of removed from the area where vegetation is
that would be good.
Adapted for.
That would be good, and I agree with you. But there's one other part of it, is that the African people are eating a food that is so detrimental that you didn't have. And you see, the African people is eating cassava. Cassava is cyanide, pure cyanide, unadulterated. You didn't have that. And because you didn't have the cyanide, you were able to produce plastics, you were able to produce rubber, you were able to build the White House, you were able to produce electricity, you were able to produce agriculture, the African men. And no other black man in the world has ever done that. That shows that Black America, even though taken away from motherland and given meat, which is responsible for our anger, we are still able to do things that is over and above any other race in the world. The black race has proven that. And now that another one comes, your brother and servant, Dr. Sebi, it is not so surprising that he's curing AIDS and sickle cell. You know something? Curing AIDS is easy. Curing sickle cell is like play for me. Diabetes, we cure 10 a month. Yet there aren't any centers in Germany that is beset with diabetes. There aren't centers in the United States that cure diabetes. We cure diabetes. Now, what are we going to do now? I would like to hear the excuse. I would like for someone to take this particular entity to the leaders of America, and I would like to hear the excuse that they're going to give us for not supporting it.
Right there, before we start this segment, did you hear what the good doctor was saying? Did you understand the principles? We're supposed to be using the herbs. Herbs is not in your medicine cabinet. Herbs is not in the pills you're taking. The chemicals are in that. But nobody's hearing this. So they can just fleece you all for billions of dollars each year, giving you chemicals to fix basically a dietary problem. Let's continue. Peace and power, brothers and sisters. Welcome to the show.
Good evening. I want to thank you for being so humble and nice, considerate to come out here and listen to what I have to say. But what I have to say isn't mine. It was never mine. It's ours. I never believed that I would find myself in front of an audience having to talk about a subject that we all once knew. A subject that is as old as creation. And if you want to see what I'm talking about, we have to just take a look at the zoo. The zookeeper doesn't feed the gorilla the food of the polar bear. Am I right? So how come we eat the food of everybody? We'll begin this lecture by letting you know, first of all, I'm your brother. No more, no less than you. I can't be smaller than you. That's impossible. We have the same amount of brain cells. So how was I privileged to be navigated to this information? I don't know. I don't even question myself. I just like to live. As a little boy, I hated school. That is the truth. I didn't go to school. I didn't like school. I didn't like to comb my hair. I didn't like a whole lot of things. I didn't like money. I was 12 years of age. I was Seventh-day Adventist. Corby Brown. We left that afternoon from the church. It was a 13th Sabbath. I said, Kirby, how did you like the lecture? I didn't. I said, why you didn't, Kirby? Because they talk about Solomon. I want money. I said, Kirby, but when you have wisdom, you have everything. Well, I don't know what wisdom is now, not then. But I knew that money was not my pursuit. Kirby said, I want money. We were 12 years of age, 1945. I'm 73 years of age now. In 1994, a young man by the name of Tom Flowers came to me and said, guess who's coming tomorrow? I said, who? Kirby Brown. I said, well, if I remember correctly, Kirby said when we were 12 that he wanted money. I hope he made millions of dollars. I don't have any millions. I don't even have $1,000. But you don't. But that's okay. I live. I found that avenue, or it was shown to me how to live. Not to read books. Because everybody reads books. But yet, society is deteriorating more every day. Everybody reads books. The brother called the other day on the radio and said that he asked about corn, right? Corn? He read books. He said that the text, the Kemetic text showed him that corn is good. Well, he better examine his text because corn was made by man. But anyway, Kirby said he wanted money. That was a Thursday. Tom Flowers said, Kirby is coming tomorrow. So I said, well, if Kirby didn't make his millions, I'm going to remind him that we're alive. We are alive. Kirby didn't arrive. Kirby would never arrive. They had to take axe to chop the hotel door down. Kirby died of a heart attack. Kirby weighed 390 pounds. Kirby wanted money. He became a cab driver in New York. I didn't want any money. I didn't want it then nor now. Because it's not important in your life. It was never important in our lives. The Maya shows that. The Maya built pyramids. The Maya lived for millions of years in the jungles of Central America. No money. The Africans? How long did we live in Africa without money? Since creation. Now they tell us we need money to fight AIDS. Brothers and sisters, we are at a deficit, a tremendous deficit, a deficit that if we do not pay attention, I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did, because I remained an obedient boy, that just lost his mama 4 days ago. I listen. But to listen, you can't have a philosophy in your head. If you have a philosophy in your head, you cannot listen to anyone. I was there. I was a Seventh-day Adventist. I listened to no one but those things that came from the church. Well, if I was to listen to the church today, the Seventh-day Adventist, I'd be eating tofu. I'd be sick. You see? I'd be eating tofu. If I had gone to school, I would have become a medical scientist. I wouldn't have been able to cure AIDS because they do not. They don't cure AIDS. If I had listened to all of the philosophies of Europe, I would have never been able to find the answer to the cure of diseases. But today, I'm going to share with you the African wisdom, the African brain, the African genesis, the African resonance, something that was never taught to us in the schools. Well, why should we expect the school to teach us something that would enhance our growth and save our lives?
Yes.
Why should the school teach you that?
Yes.
When in history has there ever been examples to show that one race of people is indebted to another? That has never been. Then you tell me that the white man is a bigot. The white man was never a bigot. He was never a discriminator. The white man is a person that obeys the first law of nature. Self-preservation is the first law of nature. So the white man, whenever he proceeds to preserve his race, and we sit back and say he's a bigot, it's only because we have lost it and we don't even know how to get ourselves out of this mess. I'm one of them. I'm you standing here. But one day, it was to be that your brother would be shown something that would change the profile of things. I left my country, where I was born then. In 1953 to New Orleans, I became a merchant seaman. I was 20 years of age. As a merchant seaman, I became an engineer 5 years later. I'm a steam engineer. Don't ask me how I did that, because that's going to baffle you, because I've never been to school, and I don't read books. I don't read books now, nobody's book. I'm not even going to read my own. Because all the book readers come to me, asking me, how did you cure AIDS? But that's like asking the gorilla, hey man, how come you keep yourself healthy without a hospital? How come you don't have any medicines? We begin. I became a merchant seaman right quick to take you through my life. Left Honduras without going to school, became a merchant seaman, became an engineer, worked for the County of Los Angeles as an engineer. While as an engineer, the County of Los Angeles, something is to happen. Something is to change my life completely. First, it was a Mexican. The Mexican said to me, you're dying. I said, I know. How do you know? Because I fell out going to the bathroom on Sunday afternoon, and I didn't reach the bathroom. I got up off the floor. Something must have happened between there and the bathroom. But I had gone to the neurologist, the endocrinologist, the GI practitioner in Russia, in England, in Germany, in France, United States. And there were people that knows what it is about. They had the great big books on medical science. But my asthma and my diabetes, my impotence was kicking. What happened to the books? They read books. All the physicians that treated this boy read books of all kinds. Nothing happened. I goes to Mexico, and the Mexican have a goat in his house. Every 5 words it was bad. Bad. And I'm looking around. The Mexican said, the goat bothering you? I said, no. You're dying because you are disobedient. Wow. Then he brought the Holy Bible. Honor thy mother and thy father, that thy days may be long upon the land. That's in the Bible, isn't it? But how could we honor our mother and our fathers when we don't even know what they were about? Wow. You don't tell that to an elephant. Wow. To honor his mother. Because when he's born, he follows his mother and watch what his mother eats. Do you and I know what our mothers ate in Africa? We don't know. Yet we dialogue. We dialogue on this level of intelligence because I know Plato, I know Aristotle, I know all about Diogenes, but you don't know what your mama ate. So everything that you talk about means absolutely nothing. So you see where they have us at a deficit? That's why we need each other's. Now, when I became an engineer, the Mexican said, stop eating. Don't eat anything. For how long? 3 months. I said, are you crazy? He said, no, you nuts. You ask me if I'm crazy. You've been eating garbage for 30 years. You've been eating garbage. And I'm going to remove the garbage for 90 days and you ask me if I'm crazy. What was I eating? Hog maws, chitlin, neck bones, crackling bread, Lord in New Orleans. Eggs, because the grown-ups told me when my penis wasn't getting hard, eat eggs, drink raw eggs. And I did, by the dozens. And nothing happened. The Mexicans said, don't worry about it, don't eat. 90 days later, I was no longer impotent, no longer diabetic, no longer asthmatic, no longer with glasses on my eyes, and this stomach hair was 42. What happened to the science that the physicians were using, medical science? It didn't work, isn't it? But it worked with me. The herbs work with me. This Bible says, in the book of Revelation, it says 22 verse, and the first chapter, it talks about the herbs for medicine. Am I right? Well, ladies and gentlemen, what could have happened to us that when my brother, who was a preacher for 30 years, was sick, and instead of going to God's medicine, he went to the physician to get a chemical in his arm. My brother died 21 years ago. I'm not a preacher. I would never be a preacher. I told that to my mother. She wanted me to be the preacher. I said, no, 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 no. That would be the last thing that I would consider. She said, why? I said, because I want to live truth. Even if it kills me, I'm going to live truth. And truth is, the Bible says that the herbs are for the healing of the nations. But the preacher, when he gets sick, he will get a chemical. What is the message he's sending to God? Come on, just be truthful. Let us be truthful today. Yes. If never again in our life, let us be that today. Why do we go to see the doctor to give us a chemical when the Bible says the herbs are for the healing? Why do we go? Well, you're going to soon find out. That's what affected me then, and probably affecting me now. To a great degree. More than I would ever realize. Because remember, I want to go to the blackboard. Roughly speaking, Africa, way overhead, we put America. They have 4,500 miles. What happened between hair and hair? A lot happened. You see, when we were hair, without the mathematics, without the ABC, without the sciences, when we were hair, we had something to our advantage that we no longer have here. We are blind hair. Hair we weren't. We were seeing. Why? Because God provided us with everything we needed here. And none of it was comfrey or rice and beans. There were no tofu. There were no soy there. There were no cows. And there were no hogs, no chicken. There were no flour. Those things didn't come from Africa. You see rice and beans and flour and cheese and meat and the starch that you eat They all came from right here, from a laboratory. Now, for us to eat, you have to have in your big skull the understanding of biochemistry. But when we were here, we didn't have to know anything about biochemistry. Why? Because God doesn't make poisons. You see, God doesn't make carrots. Well, let me put it here. Stop the garbage.
Truth. This is what you need.
Anytime someone tells you that tofu is good for you, that someone that just gave that information to you has one eye open. But he's confident that when he tells you to eat carrots and you drink it, you have both closed. So a one-eyed man is king where everybody's blind. But the one that recommends the tofu is only half seeing. He's blind. He got one eye open only. But he doesn't know it. Example. Before we get into the real lecture, pull this out. This is how people take privileges on us. They don't care about us. They bring us information that, oh God, that's why the rest of the world laugh at us. Because they know that we have both eyes closed. Here it is. Moringa. Moringa has 23 times the iron in spinach. Spinach has iron? No, because spinach, let me take my time because there's a whole lot of information. I don't want to jog it up. Anything that has a pH of 7 plus is alkali. Anything that has less 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is acid. Spinach. Acid. Why compare moringa with spinach? When spinach has a starch base, it has no iron. 7 times the calcium in milk. Milk has calcium. Well, I stopped drinking milk 42 years ago. And I could fall on my knees. You drink milk with moringa, because they said the mixture was making some pages here. You're not going to fall on your knees at 73. You're going to leave your knees down there. 11 times vitamin A that you find in carrots. Carrots has vitamin A. Carrots belongs on the acid side of life. So right there, and they said to mix with carrot juice. Why would they do that? Then up here, they talk about the Ayurvedic system of medicine, recommends moringa. The Ayurvedic is Indian. The Ayurvedic system of medicine recommends cow milk. The Ayurvedic system of medicine had never cured any disease, no moringa, nor any other system in the world. You know what it's like? When Steven Seagal tells me to come to his house because he had a headache for 5 years. Well, I knew why the headache was in his head. It was removed in less than 10 minutes. He had the bottle and said, "This bottle is powerful." I said, "Yeah, powerful, huh?" She said, "Yeah, the headache is gone." You know, he's a Dalai Lama, right? He wanted me to go to Kathmandu. Kathmandu? I'm going to go to Kathmandu. To do what? Talk to lamas. Lamas for what? What am I going to talk to lamas for? They couldn't cure your headache that you had for 5 years. The llamas need to come and see me, not me, the llama. But since we were compromised, we left all our food in Africa. You and I don't even know what we ate in Africa. So don't even go there. But we have the opportunity because one of your brothers happened not to go to school and look outside of the paradigm of school and found something altogether different. And what did I find? That anything that God made is on the alkali side. Why? The molecular structure is complete. It was made by nature, not man. Anything that God made has no starch. That's another thing. Anything that nature makes has no starch. Anything that man made has to have starch because starch is a binder. To titrate two unequal chemicals, you have to use a starch. Starch is not a food. Starch is a chemical. And what have we been eating since they took us away from Africa?
Starch.
Starch and blood.
Yo. Eat it up, slaves. Eat it up.
Starch and blood. We didn't need blood in Africa. Gorilla doesn't need blood. He leaves and berries. But gorillas are sane. They listen to each other and they have a society well put together. Well, Sebi, when he became the engineer and he found out that the pH value of things had a lot to do with healing and the properties that's to be used, I was happy. I used to run home. Guess what I found? I found that the herb that everybody's talking about is acid, and everybody's using it. What herb is that? Comfrey. To say what? I said, yes, it's on the acid side. And so is rose hips, enchilacia. What about golden seal? That's right, golden seal was made. It's like the stick that you put in your mouth. They call what? What they call it? The chew stick. What they call it? Liquid stick. Everybody have liquid stick in the mouth, right? But liquid stick was made. It has 50 times more sugar than does sugar itself. It has glycerinic acid. You see, we didn't have to study biochemistry in Africa because everything we had there was on the alkali side, so we could eat anything. But when they brought us here, you gotta put some clothes on now. And after they put the clothes on you, come here, boy. You gotta get in front of this classroom. You have to learn this ABC stuff. But hold it now. Gorilla doesn't take their cubs to be trained by polar bears. Gorillas train our own cubs. The gorilla way. But no. You and I, our parents couldn't do better. They had to take us to the school because they want to save us, protect us, because that's mother. Mother doesn't want child to suffer. So mother was shown that if child didn't go to school, they'd be illiterate, and the society is made up where you must go to school if you want to buy a Mercedes. But in our society, school, what you mean by school? We don't have such animal. We build things. And those who've been to school can't even build the pyramids today. Not in Honduras, not to mention the pyramids in Mexico. They're 4 times the size of the pyramids in Egypt. Oh, yes. I know Ben Joker didn't talk about that. But that's okay. Because he needs help like I need help. We all need help. So the school that we thought was going to be so equitable, so useful, had become a deterrent. Because those that been to school doesn't cure anything. How did I learn that I didn't go to school? Easy. You know, we babies, kids, we don't die. Right? We do it. I'm not wiser than you. I may be more mischievous than you. I know that because I do some mischievousness that you would not believe. But anyway, as an engineer, I went to work one night and I began to test herbs. And I began to see that all the herbs that you guys are using are acid, every single last one of them, except for burdock, yellow dock. They're natural herbs. And the other one, which is the red clover, that's a natural herb. You know, they're alkali. They're very good. So I began by compounding herbs from all over the world. And lo and behold, a blind man was killed named Mr. Fredericks. Then the Japanese, Fred Takashita's wife was killed of endometriosis. She had a baby. She was never supposed to have a baby. It's a white lady from Utah. My boss brought his daughter and his brother with ulcers. They were killed. The boss came to me one afternoon and said, "So you're going to leave me?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You're going to leave me? On your resume, you said that you didn't go to school. And the only reason why I hired you is that I was curious to find out how could a man have an engineer license, never been to school. I wanted you to fail. But instead, you did something that is extraordinary. Are all black people like you?" I say, Brett Howell, his name is Brett Howell. "Are all black people like me?" I say, "I'm the dumbest." "Yes, they're all like me and more powerful than me. But how come they're not doing what you're doing? You killed the blind man. You killed my daughter ulcers. Could they do that?" I said, "They could do it better than you, than me. But why are they doing it? Because they're afraid of you. I'm not afraid of God. I'm not afraid of the devil. I'm not afraid of anything, especially you. Because I don't live in fear." So I say, Brett Howell, the black man of America is afraid of you white people because you guys made him afraid of you. And you should not feel good about that. It's not about me hating white people, loving black or hating black. It's about understanding. Nobody's going to help us but us. Nobody in this world, whether white, black, Chinese, or Arab, could help us. It's impossible for them to help us. Why? Because they don't know us. They know about genetic predisposition. Look, as a Christian, I used to eat pork. Of course I eat pork, and I love it. But as a Muslim, I eat lamb, which is 10 times worse than pork. So what do I do? Who do I turn to? So after I quit my job, the boss said, "Wait just a minute, because I think you're crazy. You're leaving your job as a steam engineer in 1980, when herbs in 1980, I'm making $2,900 a month. I'm going to leave my job with 10 years seniority to come after some herb that you didn't like." Why did I do this? I had to do it. It wasn't that I could see that far. I can't see beyond my nose. Talk about years ahead. But I had to quit my job. And I had to question myself, why am I doing this? But I did. And 1980, the boss is looking at TV, 1987, on the 10th day of February, and he see CNN, Alfredo Bowman, a.k.a. Dr. Sebi, is arrested for practicing medicine without a license, selling product approved by the FDA, and claiming to cure AIDS and other diseases, which is a fraudulent claim. The boss saw that. The boss' wife is in the bathroom because he told me the story himself. He called her out, come and see the man that's arrested. If he says he cured AIDS, I know he cured AIDS because Brett Howard knew that I would never compromise myself to a lie. When I talk, I know what I said is the truth, but I also know that in America, you could also be dead right. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. I'm 73 already. They killed me tomorrow. It's all over with. I'd rather reach 73. My brother, who was a preacher, he only got to 50. But I stuck with you, the black woman. That was my success. You, the black woman. I always kept my eyes on you. Nobody else, not the maid, because I'm one. We don't do nothing. We can't do anything. We need you. Because it is you that held our hand. It is you that breastfed us. My mother breastfed me for only 4 years, but that was sufficient. In 1962, two statements was made in a barbershop, 1640 Claiborne Avenue, New Orleans, Louisiana. Timothy Barbershop. Tim Barbershop. Ernest Moriel walked in there when he was a lawyer. And every time Ernest came in the barbershop, we used to jump on Moriel. I mean, we used to kick him around the place. Moriel said, you see you niggas? One day, I'm going to become mayor. And I'm going to remember you, Alfredo. That's me. The big mouth. I'm going to have you in jail. Ernest became the mayor of New Orleans. I was in Los Angeles, and the most hurting thing in my life was when I heard that Moriel had passed with asthma, a disease that I used to suffer with, that I was cured of in Mexico, and that I have addressed so many times. Moriel died. Ernest Moriel. Then another statement was made by me in that same barbershop. I said that I would give the black woman a gift. Brother said, Logan said, Sapphire? I said, yeah, Sapphire, your mama. I said, she was the first, you came out of her. She held your hand. She teach you everything about the basic things of life, and then she cut you loose. Now she worth nothing. She's Sapphire. I'm going to give her a gift. 1962, that statement was made. But 1962, I was sick. I had asthma, I had diabetes, I was impotent, I had everything under the sun. But in 1964, I was cured, and years went by. Then I found out this is the gift to the black woman. The healing that I found is in your hands now, black woman. Yes, it's in your hands. So in 1987, I was arrested. And while I was in jail, I was the happiest man in the world. Because when I was 40 years of age, I was going to work, and I passed by Miss Louise Wright house on my right, and I made a statement, I'm going to help humanity. And here it is. 1987 is the showdown. I was arrested. All of the people in New York that were healers, I don't need to call their name. They said, yeah. They got the big mouth. They were angry with me because I put an ad in the Village Voice and the Amsterdam News and the New York Post. AIDS has been cured by the USHA Research Institute. And we specialize in cures for leukemia, sickle cell, impotent, blindness, cancer, and others. Well, after all, I did it. Shouldn't I advertise it? You should be glad your brother's doing that. Because now you have a chance to share the bounty, right? That's the way I felt. So I'm in jail and I'm wondering, how is the American Medical Association going to escape from this one? You see, in the past, herbalists, when they talk, shh, gotta be quiet. Gotta talk under the table because the physician may get you. The FDA gonna get you. But we seem to forget the one basic thing. When they remove us from Africa, did they bring our food with us? Did they? Well, how could the FDA have such kind of power over us now? Come on now, just wake up to it. So I stood in jail thinking, how am I going to do this one? This is going to be a heavy number, but it's nice because I wanted this moment. I wasn't going to back down. What you mean, back down? I'm representing some black woman. I never had a father. I never had a man in my confines to tell me something. No, I never had a stepdaddy. I had a woman. And then another woman, my grandmother. My great-great-grandmother lived to 124. Her name was Elizabeth. And she lived 70 years without a man. My great-grandmother lived 112. She lived 68 years without a man. My grandmother died at 100. And she lived 50 years without a man. My mother died 5 days ago. And she racked up 40. My mother died while I was coming to see you. I didn't turn back. You know why? The relationship with me and my mother was one of love. And she would have never wanted me to be there. My brother told my mother when I was about 10 years ago, he told her, yeah, you didn't like me. You didn't give me any love. You didn't give Fred any love either. That's me. So my mother said, what'd you say? You gave all your love to the pastor, not to Fred and me. My mother said, like, Fred, are you in on that? I said, man, this boy was talking garbage. See, he told me he's serious. I'm never serious. I don't know what it is to be serious. I hear men talk about seriousness. Well, I don't know what you do with that. But my mama said, raise your hand up and open your fingers. Which finger would you elect to take off of your hand? I said, none. She said, thank you. My mother turned to my brother and said, you said that I didn't give Fred any love. Fred, you wanted my love? I said, nope. Didn't want it. I didn't need it. Because my mother knew if my mother ever interfered in my life, I've been upset. I was in the streets by the river all the time. My mother, not all mother knows the child that need her love, her attention. But she loves all. But she knows the one that needs the attention. I didn't want my mother's attention. And she knew it. But my brother said that she didn't give him any. But the boy went to the 3rd grade. He owns a fishing fleet. He owns an ice factory. And he owns a fleet of planes. And he said that his mother didn't give him love. You see how we could easily make mistakes? Okay. Mother is mother and will always be mothers. The greatest gender on the planet. So while I'm going to court now, and I'm standing, the judge said, get the man out of jail, and I went to his chambers. Judge Shorter said, young man, you mind if I ask you a question? I said, no, sir. Why did you advertise that you cure AIDS? Well, sir, my mother's alive. Africa exists, and my face, and I would never offend any of the three. That's why I advertise that I cure AIDS. He turned to the woman at the desk and said to her, ask her, did you investigate this man before you arrest him? She said, no. Her name was Phyllis Spade from the Attorney General office in New York. She said, no. You didn't investigate this man before you arrest him? This man, the response he gave me, he cured AIDS. But AIDS is the easiest thing to cure. People think that AIDS is difficult. To me, everything is easy. And to you, it should be too. And I'm going to show you why it's so easy. So the judge said, well, you're out in bail. And that was February the 12th, I got out of the 13th. But the case doesn't begin until 88. September, I have a year and 8 months. Why the judge gave me so much time, I would never understand. So I waited. Trial date. This is where the showdown with black and white. Not better or worse. We are not better than any white man or Chinese. No, we just happen to be different. That difference has never been treated by any religion or philosophy.
Right.
There is a difference that need to be understood. So while I went into court, the judge said, well, Dr. Sebi, will you please begin? Where do I begin? Begin when you say you cure AIDS and the physician said there's no cure. The physician is 100% right. There is no cure for AIDS or any other disease. Just a minute. There's a contradiction here. The newspaper says that you cure AIDS. Then you agreeing with the physicians. That's a contradiction. No, it's not. When you limit it, it is. But when you leave out the box, it isn't. She said, help me. She said, of course. The physician take the position that there is no cure for AIDS or any other disease, and the physician are 100% right, according to their philosophy and their perspective. Their medicine didn't show them a cure. So how could they say that there is a cure? But the perspective that prepared me, there is cure for AIDS and every other disease. Oh my God, when I said that, the physician jumped up. Your Honor, Dr. Victor Herbert said, Your Honor, what other perspective could there be? After all, you know, this patent on us, the FDA has a patent on us. You cannot talk. The FDA talk, you shut up. Oh yeah? But I'm gonna find out. So, the judge said, what perspective is yours? Dr. Victor Herbert, Dr. Bonanno, and Dr. Christopher said, how could there be another? I said, there is another, Your Honor. And what is the other? The African bioelectric cell food. I've never heard of such a thing. That's what the physician said. He had never heard of the African bioelectric cell food. I said, of course. But we have to remind the good physician that he have not heard of a whole lot of other things. But that doesn't deny the existence of the African biomineral electric cell food. What is it? The allopathic claim that there are multiple diseases. The African biomineral balance negate that position. There's only one disease, never been two. The allopathic claim that to treat the multiple disease, you must use a chemical, which is violating God. Right?
There it is.
The African biobalance said no. It's a nutritional approach. Electric food. Your Honor, I told you that this man was insane and unscientific. He said there's only one disease, but there's only one. Remember, I'm the boy that didn't go to school. I'm going to break things down to the least common denominator. When I was a steam engineer, I found out that in a machine, thermodynamics I'm talking about, or an automobile, the only thing that could cause this machine to go bad is what? Short circuit, obstruction, overheating. The same thing with the human body. So what did I do? I put compounds together that would cleanse the human body of what? Of mucus. In so doing, AIDS, sickle cell, lupus, herpes, blindness. It sounds too simple, right? Well, that's not my fault. They have complex things, and then they deal with the complexity. And boy, that's a job. But with us, on our journey from Africa to America, it was easy because the slave master had a ship and brought us over. But getting back to Africa, we get confounded We can't go back now. We don't know how to go back. We better not even go back. Because when I tried to go back, this is what I did. My first trip with a passport was to Kenya. So I went to Kenya and they said, where your passport? I said, I have no passport. I said, I was taken away 500 years ago. I'm back. When I left, I didn't have any passport. So why are you asking for a passport now? Is a passport African? Put him one side. They put me one side and send me back out. But you think that was bad? That wasn't bad. Wait. May I have that? I go to Africa. I go with my wife and I say, well, boy, I'm happy. Girl, we're going to liberate Africa. We're going to do something for mother country. I go and I saw Dr. Parinyatwa in Zimbabwe. I said, Dr. Parinyatwa, I think the problems are over with. Not only Zimbabwe, all of Africa. Here is Hospital Vicente di Antoni, is an Italian hospital. Department of Blood and Laboratories. Oswald Zavala, HIV positive on the 25th of November of 1993. 17th of January of 1994, HIV negative. This boy named Alfeo Lagos, this from the Red Cross, the Honduran Red Cross. It says here that this boy, it doesn't show any date of which he contacted AIDS. Why? Because he was born with AIDS. But down here it says he's negative on the 19th day of January of 1995. Another one. This one calls a laboratory to call for me. I thought it was funny. This is the next one, the other one. His name is Alex Suarez. On the second day of January, this boy of August, he found himself with HIV positive. On the 19th day of August of the same year, 17 days later, the boy is no longer HIV positive. So they called me for what? I don't know. Because I knew they're not going to change it. Now, this one you're going to like. This one from the San Diego Public Health Laboratories. It says there that this man has a HIV-1 RNA 26,205. The boy was supposed to be dead at 25, right? Just go to the other page. 6 months later, he's less than 400. He was killed at 15. So anybody would want to read it? Because I could be lying, because that's the way we think. But here it is. No, that's possible. I could be lying. Here, young lady. So, curing AIDS, no, sister, look, that's the easiest thing for niggas to do. We could do more than that. Curing AIDS, to them is big thing. To us, it's nothing. You understand? But now, here is where this little carpet comes in. Where did I put it? The blood, no good. There it is. Blood and starch. Blood and starch. Blood and starch are going to prevent you from doing what the ants does for each other. Ants, when it's getting ready to rain, you know what they do? All the black ants, they begin to do what? Cut the leaves and take them to their little nests. Ants doesn't eat leaves. They eat the mycelia that grows on the leaves with the temperature. They are farmers, but they provide when it rains. Red ants does the same. But we black people, we can't do that. Because when your brother showed the world that he cured AIDS, why didn't the African countries jump on it? All the African people eat is blood and starch, nothing else. But that is the Africa that you and I dream about, the Africa that we want to save, the Africa that we all love. I found out that there is no president in Africa that is interested in the cure for AIDS. Not one. No, I'm sorry, only one. I'm not going to name the country because I may jeopardize the country. Because the one thing I learned, that when you begin to talk favorable about a country or individual, they're going to soon get him. That is a fact. So I cannot talk about the country that said to Dr. Sebi, Dr. Sebi, whenever you want to return to Africa and begin this new empire, you have 5,000 acres of land and 6 hot springs. I don't need anything else. Hot springs? 5 hot springs with 5,000 acres of land? We could grow food. We could make the best dress. I said, sir, I am not going to come to your country unless I'm able to grow marijuana. He said, marijuana? He said, wait, just a minute. He said, I can't do that. I said, well, the compounds I've been giving your nephew that was autistic, that now is talking, was marijuana. And as for you is concerned, when I came here, you weren't walking. You were dying. Now you're running up the steps in the presidency. Right. I have that right. It's not everybody that uses it, from autism to arthritis, is cured, because everything that God made is good. So as I go to Africa, all happy, I came back with my tail between my legs, because it ain't happening. It ain't gonna happen. They're not interested in that. But the one thing I noticed today and yesterday, and you may have heard it, President Clinton and Sanjay Gupta, they found the end of AIDS. How could they find the end of AIDS when they have not found the end of diabetes, the end for sickle cell, the end for any disease? But they're going to tell us that they're going to bypass these lesser diseases and jump on the major one, and they got the cure for it. I got documents to substantiate that I cure AIDS, right? So what's up? What's up? Well, I'm going to show you what's up. When I was in Zimbabwe, the Department of Health said, why do you come to us saying that you could help us? And your leaders in America didn't help you. My leaders in America? What do you mean by that? They mentioned Mr. Farrakhan. I said, just a minute. I don't follow any man. I follow women. And I don't follow sick people. Because if I follow sick people, then I got to be sicker. I go to Brazil. They say, why don't you, if your leaders didn't help you, why should we? I say, my leaders, again, they brought these leaders in front of me. And they mentioned something like Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson. I said, oh, God. I said, why you all ask me about these people? I never knew of Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton or Oprah Winfrey promoting something that is equitable and good for the black community. That's never been. What they could do is march. That I know. But why do you ask me about it? I'm asking you, why can't you incorporate this in your repertoire? You said me, I have no leaders. My leader's my mama. The biggest testicles that anybody I've ever seen, they was on my mama. So don't ask me about leaders. I don't follow leaders. I never was part of that thinking. I don't need anyone to lead me someplace. So now I'm asking you, what do we do now? I cure AIDS. Are you going to call Oprah? You don't need to. She could advertise 1 million pieces, broken pieces, right? But that's fine. But she cannot advertise the cure for humanity. But there's one little dude that got himself in trouble. And he was totally unaware of what was going to happen. This little dude, I'm home with my wife, enjoying myself. On Sunday afternoon, looking at TV, somebody threw a rock on my window. It's Randy Jackson. What did you want? My brother want to see you. Your brother? Michael? Okay. I went. Well, he's sick as hell. Well, I treated him, and he got cured. He saw it, and he was encouraged to take me to the Rayborn building on Capitol Hill. Oh my God. This is going to really confound you. Michael Jackson took me to the Rayborn building on Capitol Hill on the 31st day of March. March. It was March, 31st day of March of 2004. I said, why are you taking me there? Because you cure AIDS. I said, but what makes you think that they are interested in that? What makes you think that the world is interested? I don't care if it's any country in the world, they are not interested. Especially Africa. They were never interested. AIDS isn't killing Africa. Hepatitis C is killing Africa. All of West Africa is the red line for hepatitis C. What you talking about? But they're Muslims. So they have to eat the Muslim food, which is goats and lamb. Go tell them that the Arabs played a trick on their brain. You cannot do that. Me, I remain the son of the jungle woman. The jungle woman that didn't have any clothes on. Yeah, I am her son. I stuck with her and she liberated me. You have to hear this. One morning, I woke up and I heard the music that was playing. You know how you turn the radio on and you're sleeping, but the music on the radio would influence you, and you dream that you're seeing the artist that's playing, right? You've had it happen to you. This morning, I'm listening to John Coltrane, 4 o'clock in the morning on channel 850 on the TV. I'm sleeping, and I'm hearing John Coltrane playing Interstellar Space. But then something was happening while this music was playing. I was looking at a black woman doing this from behind a tree. I woke up, and I didn't know how to interpret that dream. But then I was leaving that morning for Los Angeles. As I got to the airport, the governor was there. The governor said, that's him. That's the man that cured Al-Sida of leukemia. That's the man I'm talking about. The governor had a lot of people around him. So I was leaving for Los Angeles. He was leaving for the capital. He didn't know that we were going to meet that morning. So they was talking to me and asking me questions. Finally, 2 men that were standing away from me, they were white men from the United States. They came up to me and said, well, we have heard of your miracle cures. I said, sir, I don't even know what a miracle is, especially for Form 1. I just happen to cure leukemia. That's not a miracle. To you, maybe. Because your school of thought have you to believe that curing these diseases is one great big feat. No, it's simple common sense. I'm an African. Now, this is where the naked women are going to come out. They said to me, we have heard of your miracle cures, but have you been saved? You see? Right there, I consider that an imposition. Why do you take the liberty to believe that I'm one of those that have accepted your philosophy that I have to be saved? I say, from what? The man politely answered and said, from your sins, of course. I said, wait just a minute. I said, you know, man, while you guys were standing over there, I said, and I looked at you both, and I said, two very intelligent young men. But now I have to question that. He said, why? I said, well, because the color of my skin should have prevented you from asking me that question, have I been saved? He said, what does the color of your skin have to do with anything? I say, it has to do with everything. I am the son of a woman that was taken away from the forests of Africa. She, to begin with, she didn't have any clothes on. But she didn't have any alcohol. And she didn't have any prostitution. And she didn't have any supermarkets. And she didn't have a hospital. And she didn't need anything that God didn't make. And she didn't have any money. So all these things constitute sin. So my mother in the jungles was sinless. How did I become sinful? You cut it out. You stop that. We have to begin to change our diet, because this diet here of blood and starch is all we eat. That is all we eat. And then with this diet of blood and starch, which confounds the hormonal structure, we have the nerve to tell each other's brother, you were wrong. I'm wrong. I mean, where did you get that from? I'm wrong. You've been eating blood and starch, and you're going to tell me I'm wrong. No, we got to stop it. Because the blood and starch is why I couldn't penetrate Africa. So, you forgot, right? I'm in the Rayborn building. Who is present? Sheila Jackson Lee from Texas, right? John Conyers, Illinois. Or Detroit? Jesse Jackson Jr. from the House of Appropriation. Our most beloved President Bush. No, we have to give him credit. And no African government ever given me the privilege to practice herbology. Bush did. Bush appropriated $5 billion to fight AIDS in Africa, right? And the African government didn't appropriate one dime. They didn't want their brother to do it for free. So Bush stands out way above there. Bush gave $5 billion, and Jesse Jackson Jr. is there. So when I go to the podium and I say, fellas, y'all don't have to look for the cure of AIDS anymore. Here it is. Jesse Jackson Jr. did this. I said, I'm going to talk about this. I have to write about this in my book. Because you, not me, but you and I believe in the leaders. We hope that they could do something, right? Well, they had a chance. So 17 African ambassadors, only one came to me from Mali. The only man came to me and said, Dr. Sebi, I have to respect your position, and I appreciate your position, You have proven that you cure AIDS, and I would like for you to go to Mali. But that's not the country we're talking about previously. He just presented himself that day. But Jesse Jackson Jr. didn't tell you that I cure AIDS, right? He didn't tell his daddy either, isn't it? And Machida Jackson Lee didn't talk about it, right? And so did John Conyers. So who gives a damn? You see? But that's good. That's good. We don't need leaders, isn't it? So we're going to do it. Because we're doing it now. Because those black women I'm talking about, there's one sitting there. They are going to tell the world we cure AIDS. But last night, Clinton and Sanjay Gupta is on CNN talking about the end of AIDS. How about the end of sickle cell? How about
the end of COVID? What I wanted you to take from the good doctor tonight is that there's only one disease, and it's in the acid. I hope and I pray that tonight's broadcast is giving you something to think about, giving you something to meditate on. And I want to thank all the supporters of the show. Thank you all, the fans, all the people who have comments and sent emails, sent me articles to read and videos to review. Just thank you, thank you, thank you. We are still in this, and we are still battling, and we are going to survive. That's the end goal, your survival. So this will conclude TPIM SR Live for tonight. As always, live your life with integrity, without hate, envy, or greed. And as always, brothers and sisters, please, 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 let's try to be kinder to each other. Peace and power, unity and victory, dignity and respect, liberation. I'm out.